There are moments in the spirit realm when heaven pauses, when the atmosphere shifts, when something invisible begins to rearrange itself in your favor. I'm here to announce to you that you are standing in one of those moments right now, not next week, not tomorrow, not later this evening. Right no W. White in the spirit marmang. Mana we elef albua NTO yo yo armayanite within 3 mine and us. This is not hype. This is alignment. When heaven speaks, earth responds. When God releases a decree, everything connected to your destiny must obey. Something is being activated around your life. Provision, resources, opportunities, unexpected breakthroughs, and financial favor that has been waiting for your faith to stand up. You are not here by accident. You are here because God is positioning you to receive what has been held up, tied up, and blocked for far too long. Get ready. The next 3 minutes are not natural minutes. They are prophetic minutes, moments pregnant with transformation. Something is about to shift in your thinking, your belief system, your expectation, and your financial atmosphere. The flow begins when your faith awakens. The flow begins when your spirit says, I'm ready. The flow begins when you decide that you are no longer living beneath the level God designed you for. Heaven is announcing an economic turnaround, and your wallet is the target. The flow of money begins when you shift your mindset into divine expectation. Everything in your financial world is first birthed through the unseen realm of your beliefs, thoughts, and internal agreements. Money is not only a physical currency, it is a spiritual magnet that responds to the posture of your mind and the language of your faith. When you carry expectation, heaven recognizes it as authorization for manifestation. Many people want wealth, but they unconsciously reject it through fear, doubt, self-limitation, or a belief that they are unworthy of abundance. But the moment you shift your inner world, your outer world begins to reorganize itself to match your new internal standard. It is impossible to think small and live big. It is impossible to expect lack and experience overflow. It is impossible to speak defeat and walk in abundance. Your mindset is the gatekeeper of your financial flow. When you believe that money can and will come to you, you activate a spiritual principle that begins to draw resources, favor, and opportunity toward you. Divine expectation is not wishful thinking. It is a conscious decision to align your thoughts with God's promises of provision and abundance. It means refusing to allow your current circumstances to dictate your future potential. You can have an empty bank account today and still shift the atmosphere by changing the conversation in your mind. You can be surrounded by bills, pressure, or uncertainty and still decree that a shift is taking place. Expectation is the bridge between your present and your promise. The moment you step into expectation, you step out of limitation. God responds to faith, not fear. Money responds to confidence, not confusion. Heaven responds to bold expectation, not passive desire. When you decide that wealth is no longer optional, but part of your divine inheritance, everything about you begins to change. Your posture changes. Your decisions change. Your awareness expands. You begin to notice open doors that you used to overlook. You begin to hear ideas that previously passed you by. You begin to attract relationships, partnerships, and solutions that accelerate your financial life. Divine expectation is a spiritual frequency that signals to the universe that you are ready for more. It is not arrogance, it is agreement. Agreement with the God who designed you for impact, influence, and increase. The flow of money is blocked in many lives because they carry a mindset of scarcity. Scarcity whispers that you don't deserve overflow. Scarcity convinces you that financial blessings are for other people, but not for you. Scarcity tells you to survive when God has called you to thrive. When you break the mindset of scarcity, you break the chains that hold your financial life hostage. Scarcity is not a number, it is a belief. You can have little and still think abundantly. You can have much and still think small. True abundance begins in your thoughts long before it appears in your wallet. Divine expectation is the decision to think like someone who is already blessed, already favored, already supplied, already resourced, and already positioned for overflow. When you carry expectation, you no longer question whether provision will come. You simply ask how God plans to do it. Expectation shifts your prayers. You stop praying from desperation and begin praying from assurance. Expectation shifts your language. You stop speaking problems and start declaring solutions. Expectation shifts your perception. You stop seeing barriers and start seeing pathways. You begin to live with the awareness that something good is always on its way to you. Your mindset becomes a magnet. Your spirit becomes a receiver. Your faith becomes a force that pulls increase toward you. When you walk into a room with expectation, you carry the scent of opportunity. When you speak with expectation, you give life to possibilities. When you make decisions with expectation, you unlock doors that were previously closed. Money begins to flow where belief has made a pathway. Wealth begins to find those who expect it. Increase gravitates toward those who are mentally prepared to steward it. The moment you shift your mindset into expectation, you step into a realm where financial miracles begin to manifest. Ideas come quickly. Answers appear. Suddenly resources move freely. You begin to experience divine nudges that lead you into the right places at the right time. You sense acceleration, you feel alignment, you notice movement. Heaven begins to release strategies, connections, and provision. Wealth responds to clarity, not confusion. In the realm of abundance, nothing moves toward a mind that is scattered, divided, uncertain, or double-minded. Money gravitates toward direction, intention, focus, and alignment. When you become clear about what you want, why you want it, and what you are becoming, you activate a level of spiritual order that attracts resources from every direction. Confusion repels opportunities because nothing can grow in a fog, but clarity creates momentum. Clarity sends a signal into the atmosphere that you are ready. Clarity tells heaven you are prepared to receive. Clarity informs the universe that your identity, actions, and expectations are synchronized for increase. Most people are not blocked by lack, but by vagueness. They want wealth, but cannot articulate their assignment. They desire financial increase, but have no clarity about what they would do with it, how they would manage it, or why it must come now. When you lack clarity, you are like a traveler without a destination, wandering in circles and frustrated by the absence of progress. But when you gain clarity, even the smallest step becomes a powerful movement in the direction of purpose. Clarity simplifies your life. It removes distractions. It eliminates unnecessary battles. It sharpens your awareness. It makes you spiritually magnetic. Clarity does not just organize your thoughts. It organizes your future. Wealth responds to those who know who they are and what they carry. When you rise in clarity, you rise in authority. You begin to see your gifts as valuable. You begin to recognize your skills as seeds. You begin to acknowledge your ideas as vehicles of prosperity. Clarity causes you to appreciate what God has placed inside you. And as you appreciate it, you activate it. People and opportunities cannot locate you until you locate yourself. When you define your path, heaven assigns provision for the journey. When you decide your direction, resources start moving in alignment with your decision. A clear mind becomes a landing pad for divine strategies. A clear spirit becomes a receiver of supernatural insight. A clear identity becomes a magnet for increase. Confusion creates delay because confusion produces hesitation. Hesitation kills momentum. When you hesitate, opportunities pass. When you hesitate, favor pauses. When you hesitate, blessings delay because you are not positioned to recognize or receive them. Clarity removes hesitation. It gives your action speed. It gives your decisions confidence. It gives your spirit boldness. Clarity makes you unstoppable because you no longer waste time questioning whether you are worthy, capable, or ready. You move differently when you are clear. You speak differently. You show up differently. You invest differently. You expect differently. And because you are different, money responds differently. Wealth follows those who walk with precision. Clarity is spiritual order. It is the decision to align your intentions with your purpose. It is the discipline of removing what drains your focus and magnifying what strengthens your path. When you become clear about what you are building, what you are becoming, and what you are called to achieve, you step into a dimension of momentum that confusion cannot enter. Your thoughts stop fighting each other. Your emotions stop sabotaging your decisions. Your fears stop interrupting your progress. You begin to live with direction. You begin to think with purpose. You begin to plan with intention. You begin to act with conviction. And as you do, the financial universe responds to the frequency of your clarity. Wealth is attracted to organization. Money respects structure. Increase honors order. When your mind is scattered, money flows away from you. When your mind becomes focused, money flows toward you. Clarity creates capacity. It makes room for increase. It tells heaven you can handle more. When you are clear, you stop living reactively and start living strategically. You stop chasing everything and begin mastering the one thing that unlocks everything. You stop scattering your energy and begin channeling it with power. Clarity transforms your mindset from survival to stewardship, from desperation to direction, from wishing to executing. When you gain clarity, you begin to identify which opportunities are divine and which are distractions. You stop saying yes to everything and start saying yes to destiny. You stop entertaining what keeps you stuck and start choosing what pulls you forward. Clarity protects your time. Clarity guards your energy. Clarity preserves your focus. And the more focused you become, the more powerful you become. Wealth seeks out the powerful. Money seeks out the prepared. Increase seeks out the aligned. You cannot attract what you are not prepared to receive. Clarity prepares you. Clarity is faith in action. When you decide who you are and what you were born to achieve, heaven partners with your decision. People show up. Doors open, opportunities arise, mentors appear, ideas awaken, solutions emerge. Abundance begins to form around you like a magnetic field. Wealth recognizes clarity as stewardship. It recognizes clarity as maturity. It recognizes clarity as readiness. And once you reach a state of readiness, the flow begins. Financial doors open when you activate bold, faith-filled declarations. Nothing in your financial atmosphere shifts until your mouth becomes a weapon of creation. Words are not sounds. They are spiritual instruments that alter realities. Your declaration is not just speech, it is legislation. It is the act of writing your future with the pen of your voice. When you speak with boldness, you authorize heaven to release what has already been prepared for you. When you speak with fear, you delay what has been waiting to manifest in your life. Your words create pathways for money to locate you. Your declarations summon opportunities, favor divine connections, and resources that have been assigned to your destiny. Bold declarations are signals in the invisible realm. Every time you open your mouth and declare abundance, the atmosphere rearranges itself to match your decree. Every time you speak increase, lack loses territory. Every time you declare overflow, the spirit of limitation loses its grip. You cannot whisper your way into a wealthy life. You must speak with confidence. You must declare with authority. You must verbalize what you expect, not what you fear. Financial doors respond to voices that carry conviction. Money flows toward those who speak with certainty. Faith must have a sound, and abundance follows that sound. The reason so many remain stuck in cycles of lack is because their mouth is in agreement with their struggle, not their assignment. Their words reinforce their problems instead of activating their promise. They talk about what they don't have, what they can't do, what is missing, what is late, what is broken, what is scarce. And because the universe responds to the sound of intention, their words create more scarcity. You cannot speak defeat and expect victory. You cannot speak shortage and expect increase. You cannot speak fear and expect financial breakthroughs. You must learn to speak from the realm of faith, not from the valley of frustration. Bold, Faith-filled declarations take you out of your circumstances and seat you in your divine authority. They cause you to speak as if it already is, because in the spirit realm, it already is. Declaring abundance is not pretending, it is aligning. When you speak abundance, you align your mind with possibility. You align your emotions with confidence. You align your decisions with purpose. You align your atmosphere with the frequency of increase. And once your mind, emotions, actions, and environment are aligned, financial doors cannot stay closed. They must respond. Declarations unlock what hesitation keeps locked. When you wait for conditions to be perfect before you speak boldly, you delay your breakthrough. You don't declare because you see it. You declare until you see it. You don't speak because you feel ready. You speak until your spirit becomes ready. Your declaration is the seed. Your manifestation is the harvest. Every time you declare increase, you plant a seed in the soil of your future. Every time you declare provision, you water the seeds of opportunity. Every time you declare overflow, you strengthen the roots of abundance. The more you speak, the faster the harvest forms. Bold declarations also break the internal barriers that block financial flow. They dismantle fear, silence insecurity, and confront doubt head on. When you speak boldly, you override the negative programming that life may have taught you. You erase the voices of lack that shaped your past. You deactivate generational patterns that kept your family stuck. You break the invisible ceilings that have hovered over your finances. Declarations do not just change your future, they transform your identity. You begin to think like someone who deserves wealth. You begin to behave like someone who is ready for responsibility. You begin to attract what matches your new belief system. Financial doors open when you declare what heaven has already spoken. Not what your bank account says, not what the economy says, not what your circumstances say. Your declarations must be louder than your obstacles. They must be stronger than your fears. They must be more consistent than your challenges. You must speak as one who knows that resources already exist with your name on them. You must speak as one who understands that money is simply energy responding to direction. When you speak, you place that energy in motion. Bold declarations also draw people. When you articulate your intentions, you attract support. When you speak your goals, you attract partners. When you declare your vision, you attract mentors. When you articulate your purpose, you attract investors, helpers, and open doors. Financial breakthroughs are rarely solo events. They are the result of alignment, timing, clarity, and connection, all activated through the power of your voice. Your declarations build an identity that others can recognize and support. Everything in your financial world rises to the level of your confession. If your words remain small, your money remains small. If your declarations remain timid, your progress remains limited. But if your declarations become bold, authoritative, strategic, and faith-driven, you open the way for new dimensions of prosperity to rush toward you. What you decree consistently becomes what you experience eventually. Every declaration has an assignment. Every bold word is a key. Every faith-filled statement is a door opener. When you activate your voice, you activate your financial future. Your wallet expands according to the size of your obedience. There are seasons when God releases instructions that seem inconvenient, uncomfortable, illogical, or too simple to matter. Yet those instructions are the very pathways to financial expansion. Obedience is the master key that unlocks supernatural provision. It is not talent, not intelligence, not luck, not connections, obedience. Provision follows obedience the way a shadow follows light. When you obey divine direction, you position yourself under the flow of heaven's economy. But when you hesitate, question, or resist, you block what was designed to bless you. Obedience is not about rules. It is about alignment. It is the act of harmonizing your actions with divine timing, divine strategy, and divine intention. When you align with instruction, you align with increase. The size of your wallet is often a reflection of the size of the instructions you are willing to follow. Some people want wealth, but refuse to move when God speaks. They want increase without adjustment. They want elevation without transformation. They want provision without participation. But financial expansion requires obedience to divine insight. Even when it pushes you out of your comfort zone, there are moments when obedience doesn't look like a financial decision, yet its impact shapes your financial destiny. A whisper becomes instruction, a nudge becomes direction, a dream becomes strategy. A small step becomes the gateway to a large breakthrough. Obedience is God's way of preparing your character for the abundance He wants to release. Wealth requires discipline. Increase requires structure. Overflow requires readiness. When you obey, you are being shaped into the person who can carry the next level of financial responsibility. Your obedience also activates divine timing. Sometimes heaven is ready, but you are not. The opportunity is available, but your hesitation delays it. The door is open, but you're standing too far to walk through it. The miracle is prepared, but the instruction has not been followed. Obedience is the bridge between the promise and the manifestation. Every time you obey quickly, you accelerate your breakthrough. Every time you obey fully, you enlarge your capacity. Every time you obey consistently, you strengthen the flow of provision. Obedience stretches your faith. It forces you to trust when you can't see the full picture. It trains you to depend on divine wisdom instead of human logic. It teaches you that God's instructions may not always make sense, but they always make progress. When you choose obedience over understanding, you activate supernatural results. You tap into unusual provision, uncommon favor, unexpected resources, and unexplainable blessings. Your obedience creates ripples in the spirit that multiply into waves of abundance. Your wallet expands not because money magically appears, but because obedience attracts opportunity. Obedience opens doors you didn't know existed. It reveals pathways you couldn't see before. It introduces you to people who carry solutions. It guides you into environments where increase lives. Obedience turns you into the kind of person money can trust. Wealth is attracted to reliability. Opportunities favor those who respond when called. Increase flows toward those who move with divine strategy. Many people pray for financial breakthroughs while ignoring the instructions attached to those breakthroughs. They want God to provide, but resist the steps that sustain provision. They want overflow, but avoid the discipline required to manage overflow. Obedience is the evidence that you are ready for what you've been praying for. It is the signal to the spirit realm that you can be trusted with more. Every instruction followed expands your spiritual authority, and every expansion of authority expands your ability to steward resources. Obedience also breaks cycles. It dismantles generational patterns of poverty, fear, procrastination, or mismanagement. When you obey, you separate yourself from the patterns of your past and step into a new dimension of financial identity. You begin to make decisions from faith instead of fear. You begin to act from conviction instead of confusion. You begin to move from purpose instead of pressure. This shift transforms not only your finances, but the finances of those connected to you. Obedience is inheritance building. It creates generational impact. Your wallet expands according to your willingness to hear and respond. Sometimes the instruction is to start. Sometimes it is to stop. Sometimes it is to sow. Sometimes it is to save. Sometimes it is to walk away. Sometimes it is to step in. Each instruction carries a level of blessing. The greater the obedience, the greater the expansion. The quicker the obedience, the quicker the manifestation. The more consistent the obedience, the more consistent the financial flow. Obedience is proof of trust, and where trust exists, increase flows freely. You were never designed to live in financial restriction. You were designed to live in divine provision, but provision requires partnership. Obedience is that partnership. Your willingness to act determines what heaven releases. Your willingness to move determines what doors open. Your willingness to follow determines the size of your breakthrough. Your wallet does not expand by accident. It expands by alignment. It expands by submission to divine strategy. It expands by responding when God speaks. It expands when your actions match your prayers. God transfers resources into the hands of good stewards. In the economy of heaven, increase is not accidental, it is intentional. Wealth is not random, it is strategic. Financial flow is not based on luck, it is based on stewardship. God never releases abundance where there is no preparation. He does not pour oil into broken vessels that refuse to be repaired. He does not release resources into hands that are careless, fearful, undisciplined, or unstable. God looks for managers, not merely wishers. He looks for those who treat what they already have with honor, excellence, and responsibility. When stewardship grows, access grows. When stewardship matures, capacity increases. When stewardship strengthens, heaven trusts you with more. Stewardship is not measured by how much you have. It is measured by how you handle what you have. Some people wait for abundance before they develop discipline, but abundance is attracted to discipline. Many wait for overflow before they plan, but planning is what invites overflow. Some wait for financial miracles before they learn management, but management is the proof that you are ready for miracles. God tests your stewardship in small things before he transfers greater things. Every dollar, every idea, every opportunity, every seed, every resource is an exam. How you handle today determines what you receive tomorrow. Good stewardship begins with gratitude. When you value what you have, you create space for more. Complaining blocks increase. Frustration clouds wisdom. Jealousy shuts the door to creativity. But gratitude opens the mind. Gratitude expands the spirit. Gratitude activates ideas. Gratitude multiplies possibilities. When you honor what God has already placed in your life, you align yourself for the next level of increase. Stewardship is not perfection. It is appreciation expressed through wise action. Stewardship requires self-control. Money flows toward those who can command their own impulses. Opportunities favor those who prioritize long-term growth over short-term comfort. Increase cannot thrive in the lives of those who waste, neglect, or misuse what they have. When you begin to master your spending, your focus, your habits, and your decisions, you create a container that can hold abundance. A person who cannot manage little cannot sustain much. God will not release what you cannot retain. He prepares your wallet by preparing your character. He strengthens your finances by strengthening your self-discipline. Stewardship also requires strategy. Faith is not a substitute for planning. Faith is what makes planning powerful. Vision without structure collapses. Dreams without direction dissolve. Abundance without a system becomes chaos. God blesses organized people because organization is an expression of expectation. A clear plan is proof that you believe increase is coming. When you know how to handle more, heaven has a reason to give you more. Strategy creates pathways for financial flow. It turns ideas into income. It transforms potential into prosperity. It multiplies the value of every blessing you receive. God transfers resources into the hands of those who know how to multiply, not just maintain. Multiplication is the language of divine increase. Good stewards don't just hold onto what they have, they expand it. They take gifts, opportunities, and open doors and turn them into greater impact. They invest time wisely. They grow skills intentionally. They transform ideas into solutions. They turn opportunities into productivity. When you commit to growth, you attract resources that match your growth. Heaven invests in those who increase in wisdom, strength, vision, and capability. Stewardship also reveals your maturity. Immaturity spends everything it touches. Maturity manages everything with purpose. Immaturity acts emotionally. Maturity acts intentionally. Immaturity wastes opportunities. Maturity maximizes them. God transfers resources to mature hands, hands that know how to protect, cultivate, and elevate what is entrusted to them. When your maturity grows, your financial life grows with it. When your discipline strengthens, your income expands. When your choices align with wisdom, your opportunities multiply. You cannot pray for wealth while ignoring the principles that sustain wealth. God will not send increase to be mismanaged. He will not pour abundance into a life where the container is full of holes. Stewardship repairs the container. It strengthens the structure. It prepares the environment for overflow. When you take responsibility for what you have, you demonstrate that you are ready for what you don't yet have. Haven watches how you treat small things to decide when to release big things. Nothing is insignificant to God when it comes to stewardship. The most powerful breakthrough in your financial life often begins with the decision to steward your current resources with excellence. When you handle your job with integrity, you attract promotion. When you manage your time wisely, you attract opportunity. When you treat people well, you attract favor. When you handle money responsibly, you attract more money. When you steward your ideas, you unlock creativity. When you steward your environment, you create space for progress. Stewardship is the soil where abundance grows. God is not withholding from you. He is preparing you. He is shaping your mindset, training your habits, and refining your discipline so that when the transfer comes, you won't lose what you receive. Good stewardship stabilizes your financial atmosphere. It builds a foundation strong enough to carry the weight of increase. When you become a faithful steward, you become a magnet for resources. Heaven begins to release what has been stored for your future. Opportunities begin to locate you. Increase begins to follow you. Doors begin to open because you have become the kind of person who can handle blessing without breaking under the weight of it. Divine ideas create earthly wealth. Every breakthrough, every invention, every business, every opportunity, every stream of income begins as an idea. Something invisible that becomes unstoppable when acted upon. God does not drop money from the sky. He releases ideas into your spirit. Ideas are divine deposits carrying the blueprint for elevation. Ideas are heaven's strategy disguised as inspiration. Ideas are spiritual seeds that, when planted in action, produce financial harvests. Some people are waiting for money when God has already given them the idea that will make money. Some are praying for resources while ignoring the divine thoughts that would create resources. Wealth is not simply acquired. It is created through the power of an idea awakened in the right person at the right time. Divine ideas do not appear casually. They arrive with purpose. They are whispers from the spirit realm designed to pull you into your next season. They show up in moments of quiet, moments of struggle, moments of need, or moments of creativity. They come in dreams, in sudden clarity, in conversation, in discomfort, or through repeated nudges that you cannot shake. Divine ideas persist. They do not leave you alone. They follow you. They stir you. They pull on you until you pay attention. They are heaven's method of guiding you into financial multiplication. When God wants to shift your financial life, he often releases a thought before he releases a blessing. That thought becomes the doorway to provision. Ideas unlock industries. Ideas open doors. Ideas create solutions that others are willing to pay for. Ideas elevate you from where you are to where you belong. The wealthiest people on earth are not the ones who worked the hardest physically. They are the ones who allowed an idea to transform their reality. Ideas carry power that money respects. An idea can open more doors in one moment than labor can open in a lifetime, but divine ideas require recognition. Not every thought is ordinary. Some thoughts are invitations. Some ideas come with spiritual weight. Many people dismiss divine ideas because they look too simple, too strange, too big, or too unfamiliar. They expect wealth to come wrapped in ease, not wrapped in responsibility. They expect increase to appear fully formed, not as a seed that must be developed. They overlook the small idea that could grow into a massive breakthrough. Divine ideas rarely look impressive at first. They are often small, inconvenient, or impossible to explain. But inside them is the power to create a different future. Ideas also require courage. Wealth is not for the fearful, it is for the bold. When a divine idea enters your mind, fear often enters immediately after, trying to silence it. Fear whispers that you are not capable. Fear tells you that you don't know enough. Fear tells you that others will judge you. Fear tells you that someone else has already done it. Fear tries to kill the idea before it grows. But every divine idea demands movement. You may not have all the details. You may not have all the resources. You may not know the full picture. But if God trusted you with the idea, He already prepared the provision that will support it. Divine ideas also require discipline. Inspiration without action is wasted potential. Many people have divine ideas, but never pursue them. They get excited for a moment, but never commit. They write the idea down, but never build it. They talk about it, but never start. Ideas produce wealth only when they are executed. Action is the bridge between revelation and manifestation. When you begin to work on your idea, heaven begins to release what the idea needs. Resources appear. People show up. Opportunities align. The idea starts gaining momentum as you begin moving by faith. Ideas are also connectors. They attract people who carry the missing pieces. Every divine idea has a circle assigned to it, people who can advise, support, fund, or partner with you. When you step into your idea, you enter into alignment with the people destiny has prepared. You cannot meet the right people while hiding from your purpose. When you honor your ideas, you unlock divine relationships that accelerate your assignment. Your financial future is not limited by your job, your education, or your background. Your financial future is shaped by your ability to recognize, protect, and act on divine ideas. One idea can change your income. One idea can change your influence. One idea can change your family. One idea can change your entire trajectory. Wealth is created by people who take ideas seriously, steward them carefully, grow them intentionally, and obey them consistently. Divine ideas are proof that heaven is invested in your prosperity. They are not random. They are not accidental. They are strategic instructions encoded in inspiration. When you learn to honor your ideas, you begin to think like a creator instead of a consumer. You begin to think like someone who produces value instead of someone who waits for value. You begin to operate from overflow instead of lack. Divine ideas shift your identity from surviving to designing. Everything you need for your next financial level is already within you, waiting to be unlocked through an idea. Ideas are heaven's currency. They are the seeds of abundance. They are the map to your next season. When you nurture them, protect them, invest in them, and act on them, you activate a financial flow that no one can block because it originated in a divine source. Money follows purpose, not pressure. Financial abundance does not chase stress, desperation, or anxiety. It does not flow toward those who act out of fear, insecurity, or panic. Money is attracted to alignment with assignment, identity, and divine intention. When you move according to purpose, you move with clarity, conviction, and confidence, and that confidence creates an atmosphere where resources can find you. Pressure drains your vision, but purpose amplifies it. Pressure makes you reactive, but purpose makes you strategic. Pressure makes you chase money, but purpose makes money chase you. Purpose carries a magnetic pull. When you walk in the lane you were designed for, everything connected to that lane begins to align itself. People who need what you carry start finding you. Opportunities that match your gifts start showing up. Resources that fit your calling start attaching themselves to your journey. Money is not moved by panic, but by precision. When you stand in purpose, you create value, and value is what attracts financial flow. People pay for solutions, not stress. They invest in clarity, not chaos. They support impact, not insecurity. Purpose transforms your presence into a force that draws wealth, favor, influence, and open doors. Pressure, on the other hand, robs you of the posture required for financial growth. When you operate from pressure, you start acting out of survival mode. You take decisions that shrink your potential. You accept opportunities beneath your destiny. You ignore divine timing because fear rushes you. pressure blinds you to doors that were already open. Pressure shifts your focus from vision to problems, from solutions to panic, from creativity to desperation. And desperation never attracts abundance. Desperation repels it. It communicates that you are not operating from a place of authority, but from a place of collapse. Money gravitates towards strength, not strain. Purpose aligns you with divine flow. It positions you in environments where your gifts matter. It connects you to people who recognize your value. It creates opportunities that are tailor-made for your assignment. Purpose unlocks creativity, and creativity produces income. Purpose awakens innovation, and innovation opens financial doors. When you walk in purpose, you operate from a higher frequency, one that matches abundance. Money flows to those who solve problems, uplift others, create impact, and serve with excellence. All of that is born from purpose. Purpose gives your life direction. Pressure scatters your energy. Purpose helps you make decisions that build your future. Pressure forces decisions that sabotage it. Purpose is when your spirit leads. Pressure is when your fear leads. Purpose creates momentum. Pressure creates chaos. When you operate from purpose, you don't chase quick fixes. You build lasting foundations. You don't cling to opportunities. Opportunities cling to you. You don't fear lack. You expect supply. You don't panic in uncertainty. You innovate through it. Money responds to the person who is anchored, not the person who is drowning. Many people wonder why their financial life feels stuck, but they make every decision from a place of pressure to look successful, pressure to prove themselves, pressure to pay bills, pressure to impress others, pressure to escape fear. Yet nothing authentic grows under pressure. Pressure kills creativity. Pressure shuts down intuition. Pressure silences divine instruction. Purpose, however, awakens all of these. Purpose opens your ears to hear direction. Purpose opens your mind to see solutions. Purpose strengthens your heart to take bold steps. Purpose frees you from the need to chase outcomes and anchors you in the vision that was assigned to you. When you start aligning with your purpose, your financial flow begins to stabilize. You make wiser choices. You say no to distractions. You say yes to destiny. You recognize which opportunities are for growth and which are traps. You begin to leverage your strengths instead of fighting your weaknesses. You begin to use your gifts instead of hiding them. You begin to walk in confidence instead of confusion. And when your identity stabilizes, your money stabilizes. When your purpose becomes clear, your profit becomes consistent. Purpose also protects you from misaligned partnerships and dangerous shortcuts. Pressure makes you grab anything, but purpose makes you choose wisely. Pressure makes you rush, but purpose makes you discern. Pressure makes you reactive, but purpose makes you powerful. When you walk in purpose, you attract the right connections, the right doors, the right mentors, the right clients, the right opportunities. Everything that belongs to your assignment begins to gravitate toward you, because purpose is not just what you do. It is the energy you carry. It is the identity you embody. It is the reason heaven supports you and the reason money recognizes you. Money follows purpose because purpose creates value, and value is what the world rewards. When you operate in your true calling, you become impactful, irreplaceable, influential, and unforgettable. Your presence solves problems. Your voice brings clarity. Your work produces transformation. And people pay for transformation. People invest in those who uplift them, empower them, and bring answers they couldn't find elsewhere. Purpose turns you into a source of solutions, and where solutions flow, finances follow. You were never created to live under the weight of pressure. You were created to walk in the strength of purpose. And when you align with that purpose, abundance becomes the natural result. There comes a moment when the atmosphere around you begins to change, not because something external shifted, but because something internal awakened. Money begins to move toward you the moment you stop seeing yourself as someone waiting for provision and start seeing yourself as someone carrying the power to attract it. You become a force in the spirit, a magnet in the unseen realm, pulling into your life the very things heaven has ordained for your assignment. When you realize that prosperity is not an event, but a frequency, not an accident, but a spiritual alignment, you stop begging for supply and begin commanding it. What you honor, you attract. What you expect, you manifest. What you speak, you authorize. And what you believe, you pull out of the invisible into